Hey YouTubers. Hey, I just had a few thoughts here and I wanted to maybe get some input. You guys, I understand I make a lot of videos. You have to understand, as a Hebrew roots Christian stuck out here in the world with no fellowship, sometimes I need to come to you guys for answers and feedback. So here's the deal. Yesterday, I'm listening to one of my YouTubers on Periscope, and they're talking about prophecy, they're talking about the mark of the beast and so on. And I started to think and wonder, I was like, what if the mark of the beast is not so much a tangible mark, but more of a symbolic one? Now follow me here. In the book of Revelation, it says that Satan is going to set up counterfeit systems. He's going to set up counterfeit ways of worship. He's going to set up counterfeit ways of money, and all of these different systems he's going to have his hand into. Okay, so we know that there's going to be a lot of people out there that are worshiping an idol called Jesus as opposed to worshiping the one true God. And we are seeing that very evident today in a lot of our Christian denominations. So anyway, moving on. It also says in Revelation that the beast is going to force everyone to take this mark, that they're going to have this mark in their hands and in their head, which is very reminiscent of God demanding of the Israelites to keep the commands on their forehead and in their hands. We know that from the Shema. You shall bind them on their hands, and they should be as frontlets between your eyes. That's a sign. He also says he's gonna put a mark on us and know us by us keeping his Sabbaths and so forth. So we know that it's not an actual mark. It's a sign. It's a symbolic sign between the Father and his people. He's going to know his people by what they do, by what's in their minds and what their hands are doing, basically. So anyways, so what if the mark of the beast is the same way? What if... Okay, so right now you see the Christian church really compromising on a lot of things, and I think some of them are doing it on purpose. I think some of them are just really deceived. But we see the Christian church compromising on a lot of things. We see the Christian church compromising on their morals. They're compromising on the commandments. They're compromising on their faith. They're making all these compromises to basically keep their churches filled. They don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to exclude anybody. And we see that this is causing a lot of friction within the church right now, and people are leaving the church in droves, by the way, because some of us, like myself, will not tolerate that compromise. We will not tolerate that compromise. Doesn't mean that we're all leaving the faith, although there is a major apostasy going on for the last 3 decades. Major apostasy. People are leaving the church, and they're not just leaving the church, they're leaving the faith. But there's also a very large group of people who are leaving the church and running to their faith, like myself. I never left my faith. My faith is stronger now than it has ever been. Okay, getting back to my point though, what if we are in essence accepting that mark of the beast by our actions, by what we're choosing to go along with? Maybe you're in a church that accepts homosexuals in the church. Maybe you're in a church that says nobody's going to hell. They're universalists. Nobody's going to hell. We're all going to heaven. We're all forgiven. These are very dangerous doctrines. And I think that by doing counterfeit worship, like worshiping on Sundays and not keeping the Sabbath. Now, understand what I'm saying here. I don't care if you worship on Sunday. That is not my point. I'm not one of those crazy people who thinks that if you worship on Sunday, you're just lost. You can worship any day of the week, and you should be worshiping every day of the week. I'm talking to the people who have forsaken the seventh-day Sabbath, the Saturday Sabbath, the one that starts Friday night and goes to Saturday night. I am talking to those people. You are compromising away your faith at that point. You have taken away the sign that the Father says He's going to have with you throughout your generations. He's going to know you because you keep His Sabbath. That's a very dangerous thing, that if you're not keeping that Saturday Sabbath, what that actually means to the Father, and you're compromising your faith. I'm not talking about somebody who goes to church on Sunday, because hell, even I watch my Bible studies on Sunday. Even I listen to worship music on Sundays because I'm working, and that's what I like to listen to and hear while I'm working. I have a job where I'm actually pretty blessed, and I'm able to put my headphones on when I get there and just listen to whatever I want to listen to all day long. So it's pretty amazing. I catch up on all my Bible reading, I catch up on my YouTube videos, I catch up on my Bible studies, and I rock out to some worship music from time to time as well. So so I'm not talking to those who go to church on Sunday. I'm talking to those who go to church on Sunday in replacing the Saturday Sabbath. You have to set that day apart for you and God. And a lot of Christians don't even know where they're heading to in life, and they have to read books like, you know, Rick Warren's Purpose-Driven Life. If you're a Bible-believing Christian and you know what your purpose is, then you're not a Bible-believing Christian. I'm sorry. You don't even have a clue. You're so stuck in apostasy, it's not even funny. So, yeah, if you're reading books by Rick Warren and Joel Osteen, these guys are Judases. I'm not going to speak to their heart, but I'm going to speak to their actions. They are Judases, total Judases. They're rich, wealthy, greedy, and all they care about is making sure the seats in their church are filled so that they can sustain their indulgent lifestyle. So if you're listening to these preachers, I'm sorry. You know, I'll pray that you actually get out of that Babylonian system, because that's nothing but confusion. But anyways, I'm trying to stay on point here, but you know, I am driving and I get sidetracked. But anyways, I was like, what if that mark, what if we're accepting the mark of the beast every time we choose to not keep the Sabbath? What if we're accepting that mark of the beast every time we choose to allow homosexuals to remain in the church? That's not to say that I have a problem with a homosexual coming to church, but Paul tells us, and I believe it's 1 Corinthians 5, he tells us the sexual immorality, that needs to be removed from your presence. You need to send that person away. You can't keep homosexuals in the church if their desire is not to stop practicing homosexuality. You cannot keep them in the church. You cannot, because a little leaven leavens the whole lump. Okay, if you have somebody who's seriously struggling and they don't want to live that lifestyle, that's somebody you can work with. But I personally know people within our church who are there, who have no desire to stop practicing homosexuality. None. And yet they're in youth group with my kids. You know, this person is going to influence my kids. And sexual immorality is the greatest sin of all. Paul tells us to run, to flee from it, not to compromise with it, not to try and save it. No, if this person has no desire to change who they are, to change their sinful ways, then they cannot stay in the church. Period. And this is why people are leaving the church, because this is not being enforced, because people are sending their kids to youth group and finding that the kids in the youth group are just as bad as the kids at public school. So why bother sending them there? You know, first and foremost, the ministry needs to start at home, which with mine it does. My main ministry is at home. Me and my kids sit down, we read from the Bible. I teach my kids on a daily basis biblical principles and lessons that they can use in their lives. Hello. And that's where that needs to start, so that when they do go to church and they do see that person in their youth group who is touting around their confused sexuality and wanting to be a homosexual, then that's a red flag for them, because they know better, because they've learned that at home. And it's not that we hate those people. It's not that we're not tolerant of those people. We can be tolerant and loving to those people all day long, but they do not belong in the church. Period. End of story. So if we're accepting that in our churches, is that accepting the mark of the beast? Is it accepting the mark of the beast every time we compromise or accept these false or counterfeit ways of worshiping God? He hates it. He finds it detestable. He does not want us worshiping him in the way that the other people worship their gods. So just a few things to think about. You know, if you have any thoughts on this matter, please leave comments below, because I'm really curious as to what people think. You know, I used to fall into the whole, oh, it's the RFID chip. Oh, it's gonna be the ATM cards. I don't think it's gonna be anything that like noticeable. I think it's gonna be subtle. I think it's gonna be subtle because he's gonna fool us. It's not gonna be something where we're like gonna have to stand in line and choose whether or not we accept the mark of the beast. No, it's going to be subtle, and he's going to deceive people with this. You know, he's going to deceive us with his mark. So how guarded is your heart? You know, how much are you paying attention to these things? Because 90% of Christians don't even pay attention to prophecy. They don't care. They don't want all that doom and gloom stuff. You know, they consider it doom and gloom. I consider it, oh, holy day. I cannot wait for the return of my Messiah. I cannot wait. I really can't, because honestly, I look around me today and I'm like, wow, how much worse is it going to get? I mean, it's pretty bad. If you're paying any amount of attention, like, I used to wake up in the morning and first thing I would do is go on my YouTube or my Facebook feed and stuff like that. And I can't do that anymore. I have to go immediately in prayer, and I have to pray. Sorry. I have to pray from my heart before I do anything else during the day, because it's getting that bad. Because I was finding that I would get up and go straight to my YouTube or my Facebook, and I would spend the day just so overwhelmed and depressed. And now I'm at the point where I just won't do that anymore. I have to go immediately to prayer, and I have to ask the Father to guard my heart, because there is so much evil right now in the world and it's everywhere. I know a lot of people are very single-minded. They have like a tunnel vision, like, okay, this is what I care about and this is what I'm going to look at. But see, I'm that person where I care about everything. Everything is an issue to me. Abortion is an issue to me. Homosexuality is an issue to me. Transgenderism is an issue to me. What's happening with Israel is an issue to me. What's happening with the Muslims is an issue to me. So when you go on my Facebook, you don't just get hit with one kind of evil that's taking place in the world. You get hit with like 10 or 15 different kinds of evil that's taking place in the world. So it can get very overwhelming. So how guarded is your heart? You know, where's your mind at? Where's your heart at? What are you looking at? What are you caring about? Because it's going to make a difference in the end. It's going to make a difference as to whether or not you get deceived by this counterfeit system that is being put in place right now before our very eyes. And so anyway, comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm looking forward to reading them. So have a great day, okay? Have a good one.